Yay. All right. Good evening. We are calling the meeting to order. It's now April 7th, 2026 at 6:00 p.m. We have a 5-member board and we have 4 members present. 1 member we are still waiting for to be appointed, so we do have a quorum. With us we have Sadi Khedivi, Rachel Breedster, Paige Barnum, and I'm Glenisa Gaylord, and I'm the chair. So we have a quorum and we're going to move forward with today's agenda. So the first thing on the agenda is our consent agenda, which is application number DPR 0165. It's a development plan review. The property address is 1361 Broadway. The applicant is Harmony Prima Lofts, and the representing agent is Mr. Hirschberg from Hirschberg and Hirschberg. So we can, Mr. Hirschberg, you wanna?
For consent?
No, you don't need to. You don't need to. I'm sorry. I don't want you to move.
Okay, I
If you don't
can
have.
present from here.
Does he need to present or
Unless you wanted to take it off the consent.
no?
I'll
No,
tell
if it's
you,
a
this would went forward quite a while ago, but we're
Yeah.
waiting for approval from New York State DEC
okay.
for the sewer extension. So they now require if you're generating more than 2,500 gallons per day, or the water department to give them the information they need. And once we get that, we'll start this project.
All right. So right now, basically what you said, what we're considering is an extension of approval for this project, DPR 0165. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the extension?
So moved.
Anybody second?
Second.
So it's been properly moved by Rachel Breadster and seconded by Paige Barnum. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. So now we'll move to the hearing agenda. We have one item under the hearing agenda, which is our public hearing. This item is CUP 2026-7. It's for a conditional use permit for 581 Clinton Avenue. The applicant is JVT Solutions LLC. You have 10 minutes to present. Please state, so we'll go through the slides. So handing it over to you. And please tell us your name and how you're representing.
Danny Sanders, Harris Sanders architect for the 581 Clinton Avenue project.
And you are, sir?
Jamar Thornton, a member for JVT Solutions.
Okay.
So I can speak to the site being at 581 Clinton Avenue, an existing two-story with basement project building, and these are the photos taken from the front and side. This was the previous approach to the design for the apartment, but it did not meet the natural light and ventilation requirements for the living space, called the great space, and the bedroom being in the front. So it was revised to become a studio apartment, similar configuration for the exterior, but no interior walls to break it up into bedroom and living space. So now the studio apartment, as shown, meets the natural light and ventilation requirements for a living space. The approximate square footage is 850, and the entranceway would remain the same. The exterior egress will remain the same, and it's pretty much the approach that the owner elected to take for the conversion of the lowest level. I don't know if there's anything else to add from our end. It's well maintained. You've had the building for
Approximately since September.
Of last year?
Yes.
Any questions from any members?
I do. The last time that back room was listed as storage, it's no locker storage, right? On
Back.
top.
the L shape.
Yes, it'll still be a storage area. Yes.
It's for the tenant.
But and does it meet means of egress if it is a storage?
Yes, there's 2 back doors back there. There's one that leads to the storage area, and there's one that goes outside apartment.
It still goes back through that room. I mean, it's part of, it's not really a storage room in that flammables or anything like that can be kept in it. It's just for the resident to have some additional space. I mean, it's not living space, so.
It's not living.
No.
And so like, what if there's something blocking it in terms of means of egress, if it's storage?
I
It'll
don't
be
think anything will be blocking. It's just labeled that as storage. It's just a hot water tank and everything is over there. And it's just an open space, so.
I was talking about the top part. Yeah,
The egress. in
the
back.
egress part.
So do you want?
Well, I
do
see
you want
the
maybe
storage
put a little
piece
wall
being
here on the left?
this L shape, but that, right there is the door, am I right to say?
Correct, that goes
That
right
goes to
through.
the backyard?
Correct.
Yes.
So they do have the egress.
Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, so typically, Danny,
Yeah,
you know this, you
if
can't
there's a
have an
separation.
egress with separate, like, you can't
Right.
have stuff in front of an
So
actual
then
egress.
you can't have it.
So you wanna make
blocked.
sure there's, wall
Oh, that's possible, yeah. That's possible to
that
put.
separates.
Yes, definitely.
Because if someone ends up putting something there, and because your windows don't meet the requirements of egress from the front. So if there's something that
We're still
someone
gonna have
needs
the
to
back.
get out from the back, and there's stuff blocking it, because it's technically storage, you can't exit from a
You
means
wanna
of egress from storage.
Put a little wall in the door, is that right?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Building
Fine.
department stuff,
Yeah.
but it's something.
We can
Yes.
use that, we
Yeah.
can work with the building department to note that on the, like,
Plan.
condition.
Yeah,
of
we
the
can put the
permit.
separation
You wanna put this-
partitions
you wanna put the
between,
separation,
yes, so for the egress is clear.
just to
Thank
make
you.
it.
No, absolutely, that's good, good point.
I saw it last time, but it was locally labeled storage.
So it's really mechanical.
Yeah.
So for that, on the right side and then storage on the left. You can do that because that's the water heaters in there. Okay, thank you.
Does it look like there's any other questions from the board? All right, it doesn't look like there's any written or public comments, does that change that at all? All right, so do you have any comments from the staff?
I'm sorry, I just have one more comment. Can you go back to the plan? Where are your trash bins collected?
Normally the tenants, the tenants that's upstairs and, on the first floor and second floor, they put it outside on the side of their apartment.
In the front?
Yes.
Is that allowed?
Not in the front, but
Not in the front, but it's on the
if
side
it's on the
of
side.
the area.
I think
And,
it's okay.
same thing with this here. It's an area in the back, in the backyard where they can place the trash cans at as well.
You can not put them in the notch in the back, but behind the 9-foot dimension. Right here, right here.
Yes.
I would just note that, because you want to be considerate in terms of like, people make trash. You want to make sure they have enough room to put it
Yes.
properly, so it's not overflowing everywhere.
Oh, it's definitely a place to put it there.
Where do they put it now, the other tenant? On this side?
Yeah, on this side.
On the right side, okay. You wanna go back to the photograph for a second,
Let's go back to the photo, because you have room.
on the right.
Yeah, on the right side of the house, they
Yeah,
put it.
just the
next-
pictures to
yeah.
Well,
show
you
that.
also have
Over
to be
that area,
careful
yes.
because there may be an owner on that side. It's good to have it.
Mm-hmm.
They do have some space on
They have
those.
Yeah, that's an open space. It's like, a local garden
It's on the
area.
property.
It's still their property, okay, that's the only concern I would have.
Nice that you're using it.
Yes.
So just keep them on the side.
All right, any other questions?
Move through the staff notes quickly. So this particular use requires the change to add the units. It's going from a 2 to a 3. In this district requires a conditional use permit. The action itself is classified as a type 2 action under seeker, so no further actions required under seeker. They have about 25 feet of frontage along Clinton Avenue, so again, they have some space on both sides of the actual dwelling itself. This project was referred to Albany County Planning Board, and they deferred to local consideration. Looking at the block of Clinton Ave here, not including this particular property, we identified 5 single-unit buildings, 12 two-unit buildings, 9 three-unit buildings, 1 multi-unit building, so generally 4 or more, and then 10 vacant parcels. So just establishing that there's already a good mix of properties, specifically residential properties on this block, 2-unit and above for what they're looking to do. And then just for code compliance itself, the main considerations we looked at is that to check if it has the appropriate square footage, which it does, that it's not resulting in a total number of units above what the code currently allows, which it would be compliant with. And that any external alterations wouldn't be out of character with the neighborhood, and they're not really proposing any external changes. And it would also require a certificate of appropriateness, which I believe is something that's already been underway.
Yes.
They meet the requirements for the 50% above grade, the ceiling heights, designated containers located on the property, and we just talked about that being at the rear of the property, so we'll note that on any permits. And each unit would occupy one floor of the building. Also a code requirement for compliance to have an additional unit. And with that, we're recommending approval of the conditional use permit.
So with that, any last questions? All right, do we want to vote to approve the conditional use permit for project number CUP 20-2026-7?
So moved. Second?
All right, properly moved by Rachel Brewster, seconded by Sari Kadimi. Shadi, I'm sorry. I don't do it on purpose.
That's
all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good day.
All right, so now we're going to go to our meeting agenda, which is our public meeting. And the first project on the agenda is application number CUP 2026-3. This is, they're looking for a waiver for off-street parking. They're also looking for a conditional use permit and development plan review. The address is 135 Ontario Street. The applicant is Patrick Chu of Upstate General Construction, and representing them is Danny Hirschberg of Hirschberg and Hirschberg, so.
Thank you. Madam Chairman, very nice to see you there.
Thank you.
The project was before this board about 3 months ago. And they haven't changed the plan very much. It's pretty much the same plan. This is the existing building, which sort of sets the stage for what we're doing. That building on the corner is a little taller and a little more massive, and the building down the side is a one-story warehouse with some variable roof lines. So that's what we had to work with, and I think essentially we had some methods of getting it more beautiful than it is now.
Dan, do you want me to speak to it a little bit? You're right, you want me to?
Dan Sanders, the architect, come up and interrupt me all you want.
Yeah, so putting the addition on the building, when we reviewed some of the concerns, is that we work with some of the existing fenestration on the building and develop off of that vertically. So as we build up, this was required to present an existing building elevation and showing the scope of the work for sort of not really a rhythm of windows or openings that's there, because it's been a series of openings over the time. So it's going to be a challenge. So what we did on the next slide was show the front, and that's sort of turning the corner. But then, do you have the proposed elevations?
Yeah, post elevations come next.
Come next, okay.
After we get done with the engineering drawings, erosion sediment control, which
Yeah, you go
everybody's
ahead.
always interested in, I'm sure, but it's a plan we have to develop. New York State requires in every project. Now I think we have, here's the.
Okay, so the plans are pretty much working with the configuration of the building that's existing, and the allowable areas to add windows potentially if it's nearby a property line or setbacks. And then, so fortunately, there is some open area where we can put some windows per code. But the other challenge is we've got alleyways and the like that would be difficult to add some windows. So generally, we put windows only where we could. I don't have to get into the details of it, but as you go through the plans, that's what these plans reflect. And when we get the total number of units are noted at,
It's 2 2-bedrooms and,
it's shown on the other chart, yeah.
yeah, there's 2 2-bedrooms on each floor, a total of 34.
Why is that bottom one in red? Just by accident?
That was the, I believe that was, yeah, that may have been,
You made it red so we could reproduce it in red.
yeah, so I don't remember why that was.
Was there something about it?
No.
No, okay.
We do have to do, what about the rental units, was that maybe where it was? The income?
Inclusionary, that,
Yes.
yeah, those might be.
I think that's what they were,
inclusionary ones.
yeah, so we'll check the code
Oh,
on
gotcha.
our
Yeah.
key. But getting to the elevations, so what we did is work with some of the openings on the ground floor, center the windows where we could above those, the Juliet balconies, and maintaining the masonry on the lower level, which because of all the openings and infills and everything like that, we propose to paint. It's been painted several times. And then to kind of scale it down a little bit in terms of a 3-story building, again, we're adding the 2 floors on top of it, but from a material standpoint, breaking it down to the brick and then a siding on the 3rd level. So it's a challenge in terms of creating an elevation and working with some of the openings, but not only that, from a material standpoint, not making it look so too institutional and breaking it up horizontally with the material break from the 2nd floor to the 3rd floor. And then that's really in the on the west side, so it's not as I would say apparent that being in we can get back to that on the plan where that is, but that's in the less seen areas. Okay, and the rear elevation, of course, is the south side. So I will leave it up.
Okay.
You've got enough site stuff to probably present too, right? So I'll leave it back.
Not really, again, the site plan really, because the building occupies the entire site, was the building plan. So, Dan did a good job of presenting that. Here's where we show it, we do have some street trees that we added, we discussed it with the city forester, Jay Levine. And we picked the tree that they wanted, and we originally had 5 trees. He said he didn't want the 5th tree, it was too close to a power pole, so we ended up with 4 new trees. Other than that,
Bike storage.
what's that?
Bike storage.
Oh, yeah, it's internal to the building, we have bike storage, and we have a bike rack. So we meet that requirement with the internal storage. Down that corridor is a bike rack and a trash room.
We have a fitness room for the residents, and then on the upper level.
And what do you mean by inclusionary unit? Is that someone that's ADA?
Rental.
Affordable.
Affordable, got it.
Affordable, sorry.
It's
Yeah,
called
yeah.
inclusionary
Right.
under code.
Okay, now I know.
I guess it includes more people who can rent them.
And then the 3rd floor, right there is pretty much identical, but they split on the 2 floors, the inclusionary units.
Can you speak to the fence and then also the design of I know if you just go back to the rendering of I think it's the side view. Maybe? Yeah, right here. Just of why there's no windows there with the residential property next to it.
Oh, because it's attached to something?
It's very close, but
Yeah, it's within 10 feet.
Yeah.
So that's really not permitted.
Right.
And then the other's a stairwell. I'm not sure which area specifically, but yes, that's the challenge was on the rear elevation. We couldn't have, because it's cut back sort of, and at that area, it's within the 10 feet, which is restriction putting any windows on a property within 10 feet of a property line.
Is that why there's no lights on the south and west elevations too?
No lighting
Exterior
fixtures?
lighting?
Yes, right now, unless that's something that you want to include, we didn't have that.
The only
Seems-
place we show lighting
It
fixtures
seems
is
like
on-
a nice opportunity if it is such a like, you're gonna have those spaces in shade,
On which
right?
sides are you looking
This one?
The south and west.
South and west.
at?
It's-
But how close are they to
10.
your neighbors? Because that's the only concern that I
they're
have.
The
pretty close.
homeowners came the first time
Yeah,
around,
they're
right?
like
Because this
right
is like
there.
their backyard that all of that looks
Right.
into, right?
And now we have lighting on this side and here,
Right, that
and
makes sense.
minimizing with no lighting on the side.
Because it's neighboring other property, right?
Because they're right on the property.
Really, yeah, the closest building would be right here, so I guess if anything, you
Yeah,
would
but I
want
don't want the
lighting
light
right
shining in my
next to it.
backyard at night.
Is that lot where your cursor is that part of that, the homeowner?
Is that private?
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, it
this
looks
is
like
Like
the
their
backyard.
backyard.
Yeah, because it's like there's a
157.
pool.
Yeah,
okay.
That's their back pool, right. Yeah,
Okay,
so
so that makes sense, because
it's-
there's no alleyway or anything.
No, not
Oh,
really.
okay.
I mean,
That's a main thing.
but the other part is, there's not a lot of windows over there either because of the property.
Right.
restrictions. But yeah, that is tight.
So if you go back to the south elevation, if I'm understanding it
That's-
correctly, so this dark gray part is what's immediately adjacent to the residential building, right?
Right.
And then all of those windows are in their backyard?
Oh,
They're now,
They're
they're
already
set
there.
back a
Okay.
little bit.
that's why.
But
they
it's
have-
still facing their backyard.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's I was just like thinking about like, oh, there's our pool in our backyard and these
Low windows.
low windows and these people that are not
Right.
our family are like, it's like they're closer than you and I. And
Right.
I don't think it's that, I mean, I understand why you've done it that way. At first, I thought there was an alleyway behind it. and I was like,
Not that side.
Yeah,
Mm.
but the side that has lighting?
No. Only Bradford and Ontario have light fixtures.
Yeah,
the other
ones-
side is
ones
also
facing the
between the
street.
Right.
So that side?
Bradford and Ontario.
Okay,
Now, what's behind there though?
that's,
Well, that's his other building that he just renovated on the left.
Okay,
Those are apartments also.
okay.
260 Bradford, that is. Right
And
there,
it looks like
T-shape.
there may be a alleyway between those two?
There's some
parcels?
space between them. Again, it's right on our building is right on the property line.
Right.
260 Bradford is
It's
set
less
back.
than width of a normal width of an alley, it's like 1 foot 10 inches.
Yeah,
I can't get down that alleyway.
right, but
that
the,
alleyway, no.
but the windows are set at what height? Like can a kid what is it, what are people looking into?
Probably
in the
about 3
backyard?
feet off the ground, off the floor.
Well, that's why there's a proposed 6-foot fence for
Coming,
the rear.
that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
that's why you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wait, where is there?
where's the fence?
So it
Your
would
fence is going all the way
be,
around, isn't it?
I think it might have been added to the most recent set of plans, but it would basically be over here.
Yeah.
So the windows look at a fence.
For this section, just for the bottom, yeah.
But there's nothing separating the tenants that would be on that, right there. Right, there's just like windows into a backyard.
Is there a fence there too?
That's my big concern.
I don't think we called it out on our plan, but I would
But-
assume that my applicant would like to fence it off
I think that should be a fence.
so that we could add some sort of probably 6-foot privacy type fence along those two sides.
Well, and then, so what would be the dimensions between this fence and the window then?
You're basically opening a window to a fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, well, that,
Is that-
not the south, the west. Let me see. I mean, we could have those windows a little higher.
Could you have them as transom windows where
Yeah.
they get a cropped view of the skies, right? And that way, at least, just in terms of thinking about how someone uses the space internally, you're at least looking above the fence versus at a fence.
I think we can do the.
See if it works out
You
dimensionally.
Okay.
want to adjust
Yeah,
the
I'm just,
window.
I'm
Yeah.
just like really concerned about windows into like a private backyard, I
The
mean,
other on the south side.
yeah,
But that's
on the
going
south.
to be fenced.
That's gonna be fenced.
That's
We
gonna be
should-
fenced.
We should be more
With a
concerned
6-foot
about
fence.
the
What
window.
kind of fence
of
though? Are
the-
you
It
looking
says
for
a-
a solid fence or a chain link?
A 6-foot privacy fence, so it would be solid.
Solid.
Oh, solid, okay.
Chain link is.
Right,
Yeah.
that's why I asked the question.
But we can review the window heights
Just in
on the
terms of
first floor.
elevations.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because like at a height above where it's not like I'm watching your kids swim in a pool for fun. you
Well,
know,
that
that's-
fence is gonna be a privacy
Yeah,
fence.
as long as there's like fence or
Yeah,
something.
that's
these
the
windows
non-issue.
giving-
The other side is what you're saying, is the fence that's not really looking into the pool.
And if the windows are that high, does the fence need to be 6 feet?
Right.
Well, the 6 feet
Is
means
a
that
minimum,
with
yeah.
the window's like 3 feet above the ground, the window's, somebody
5
standing
feet
behind the
high.
window is looking out at the fence. So if you have it less than 6 foot high, it doesn't do anything visible with regard to
To
the
the
people.
fence, yeah.
People can see into them and they can see out.
Right.
We
it's
want to make sure
both
you can,
ways.
So
it's
when we make it
uncomfortable
6
both
feet,
ways.
it makes it more private for both sides.
Right,
As long as like you're not getting a view of a fence from the inside.
No, but if the window is higher off the floor, like 5.5, 6 feet, and then it's about a 3 foot or 2 foot at least window. That's what you're saying. the
And yeah,
transom.
if you have the,
So that
you
would
have
be
the
followed
ceiling
by-
height, that's
yeah.
great, yeah.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Just so you get some,
And that's mainly on the south elevation, because the other one's gonna be looking not an issue because they have a
Right.
fence there, which is privacy, and they're not.
just in
Okay.
terms of access, right? Like uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, like you said, it's for both parties.
Both parties are
Right,
very
right,
uncomfortable.
right.
And are
I'm
there,
pretty sure the person living on the other side would not feel okay with somebody being able to peep into their window.
yeah.
At any time.
And vice versa.
Mhm.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Like, I'm
Opening the
sitting in my
window.
backyard watching what all of you are up to in the
Right,
building next door.
right.
That's a hard elevation
Yep.
and a hard
But
little.
we
Yeah, I was gonna say the
Yeah.
lot line is like.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right
Right
there.
there.
Any other thoughts or questions?
I didn't see it was in the plans. Is there a place for trash?
Yes, there's trash rooms,
Enough.
If you go back to the first floor, I can point out where it is. We have a
bicycle
Mhm.
storage and
Bicycle
trash.
storage.
Oh, you do a fitness room, right?
Yeah, but there's a bicycle storage and trash room in that notch.
Over to the right.
right there.
Yeah,
There's a trash room
and a
below that's a
bicycle
bicycle.
storage, yeah.
And the trash room is on every floor?
No, the trash room is repeated on another floor, but the bicycle room.
That's what, yeah, the
Right.
trash room, yeah. Great.
On the other floors, it'd be like storage for,
Got it.
Tenants.
Yes. Was there any study about the shadow the building having a whole new floor on it's gonna cast on
No.
adjacent properties?
I mean, it's not the tallest, there's other 2.5 stories. It's taller. I mean, there's Bradford, right next door, 260 is a 2-story with a pitched roof. This is a 3-story with a flat roof. So the overall heights, I think we're within the guidelines of the heights.
yeah, we don't need a variance for the height.
Yeah, as long as you're within the guidelines.
And Bradford's fair, it's not a narrow street in terms of, casting right on. There's no real commercial
Yeah,
or
that
residential
block
properties.
away is Central Towers, which is,
Very tall.
Well, the sun moving this direction would give you a light on the front and light on the back as it traverses the sky. So again, the only dark side is the alley on the, between us and 260. That's gonna be really dark.
Right.
any other questions? Alright. It doesn't look like we have anybody for any comments, so we're gonna go into, staff recommendations.
So multi-unit dwelling requires the conditional use permit because of the area that it's in the form-based regulating plan, which is the neighborhood general. Under seeker, this is classified as an unlisted action, but the coordinated review is not required in this instance. We do have the parts 1 and 2 of the short environmental form, and we'd be looking for the negative declaration on seeker before any other motions. This was referred to the county planning board, and we received the advisory and recommendation notes that are shown here. So for the advisory, for recommendation rather, they noted the local fire department should evaluate for public safety, emergency service access, water availability, and any sprinkler system that might be required by building code. Under the advisory, the city should consider the precedent-setting nature of allowing the construction of buildings on the property line without allowing for adequate setback, and that the board requests that the county planning board requests that the applicant submit a revised site plan clearly identifying access points for apartments 1, 2, and 3, as discrepancies are noted between the first floor plan and site plan details. Now having gone over these, we do have some issues or concerns with the advisory and recommendation comments. Go to the next slide. So it's already noted that all of these have to get routed to departments such as fire and water already. They are going through those reviews and have received sign off. Water is still pending. That would be a condition of the approval. Additionally, the development plan review, which is what's before us today, is typically going to precede any of the building and regulatory compliance or code reviews. Although codes is part of the technical review committee that would flag any major issues with the project beforehand, which none were identified. And then just regulatory process note that we have is that in accordance with the general municipal law, we're looking to overrule a recommendation from the county planning board. It has to be a majority +1. So in this case, we would need four members to go to override the county recommendation and advisory notes. In this case, we are recommending that the city's planning board incorporates the decision to overrule the county planning board's recommendations in the final decision, as their recommendations already met through the standard referral process outlined in the code and our general review application procedures. And then if you go back, in regards to the advisory notes about the precedent-setting nature of allowing the setbacks, we're not really sure what that means, given that setbacks here are allowed to be up to the, or they're allowed 0-foot setbacks, but also it's an existing building. So they're not
Existing
constructing-
building setbacks, we didn't want to change
Right.
those.
Right.
So it's not really applicable in this case. And then the final site plans and stamp plans for actual building permits would be pending the stamped plans after the water department issues their final approvals as well. General code compliance under the zoning code, so they have met the requirements for the indoor, outdoor, passive, active recreation. They also have the laundry facilities outlined on the plans. Confirm that the rooftop mechanical equipment will have the adequate screening so that it's not visible. Revise floor plans showing additional fixtures and first floor window replacement, because we can just note that there was a request for additional revisions for the window transom.
On the
South.
south
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see, I'm sorry, go back just one more. And then, as noted by the applicant, DGS and the city arborist did recommend there be a reduction in the street trees for a variety of reasons with utility conflicts, curb cuts, things like that. And then our latest revised elevations include the coach lights and security lights with the required cutoffs. As for department reviews from engineering, all the comments have been addressed and they provided their approval March 25th. Department of General Services provided their approval January 30th. Fire provided their approval February 2nd, and Water has been working with the applicant to go through additional utility comments, but nothing that would change the elements discussed before the board tonight. And therefore, we would recommend conditional approval with pending the water department's final approval for the project. So there's a bunch of different parts of this this approval. So the first thing would be declaring a negative declaration under secret for this whole project. Additionally, we would recommend approval of the conditional use permit. approval of the waiver for off-street parking requirements, and subsequently the approval for the development plan review. With the development plan review, we are listing 2 conditions. One of them, for prior to the issuance of the building permit, final approval shall be obtained from the Department of Water and Water Supply. And then the second being, prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall implement an affordable housing compliance plan with the prevailing section of the USDO or zoning code that's in regards to that, that requirement. I believe right now they're showing the 3 units on the plan, which is in compliance, but there are pending updates to the city code in that regard. So we just want to make sure that when it's actually constructed, it complies with the affordable housing requirement. If there's any questions on the various items.
You suggest we vote on it one by one?
Yeah, and specifically the seeker negative declaration being first.
Okay, not at all. I do have a question regarding the off-street parking. I know we talked about it the last time that this came before us. They're waiving having to have any off-street parking because of just where it's located, near the bus stop. All of those conditions are met, correct?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a variety of provisions in the code to establish the minimum parking. First, we take the reduction from the change of what it used to be to now. Basically, we get down to that, then we also subtract the amount because of its proximity to high frequency bus stops.
Yeah.
And then there's also a reduction for, or a credit towards the on-site parking, which we counted at least 11 on Ontario and Bradford, but also noting that there's additional parking spots along the street that tend to be open, and a lot of the adjacent parking lots and parking garages tend to be empty as well.
Okay. So unless there's any other comments or questions, we're gonna go through each one by one. So the first recommendation is to declare a negative declaration under seeker for this project. Do we have anybody to make a motion for this?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
all right, it's been properly moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The second is the chief planning official recommends approval of the conditional use permit on this project. Any motions for that?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Properly moved and seconded. If all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. The third one is approving the recommendation from the chief planning official, a waiver for off-street parking. And do we have a motion for this?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and then the last one is the approval of the development plan review with the following conditions. Prior to the issuance of the building permit, there should be a final approval obtained from the Department of Water and Water Supply. The second condition is, again, prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall implement an affordable housing plan in compliance with the prevailing USDO section 375-4015C. All in favor?
Oh, so I'll move it.
You move? Okay, second?
Seconded.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, it carries, thank you. All right,
Thank you.
you're
Thank you.
welcome.
That last one is good.
Yeah. All right, so the next project we're going to discuss is DR 26-1, which is a demolition review of 267 Second Street. The applicant is the Albany County Land Bank. And I'm assuming you're here on behalf of the Land Bank. Can you just introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Lynette Territz. I'm the Director of Operations at the Land Bank.
And I'm Jason Chicoine. I'm the Development Specialist at the Land Bank.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank
So you have 10 minutes to present, starting now.
Yeah, thank you. And I just kind of grouped where I could all 3 properties together, just for the sake of time. So you'll see the all the project numbers listed on the top
Oh,
of the first slide. And so we're discussing 255 First Street, 256 First Street. Those are the two properties here, and then
Yeah.
267 Second Street. So
Give me
all,
1 second.
Yeah.
Can we look at all of these together and make motions on these, or do we have to do separately?
Yes, we can go through them all sometime, and then we could do a motion on each one separately.
Okay, not a problem. All right.
So they're all
no, thank you. That's helpful. So yeah, you can see on the map they're all in the same. They're all located in West Hill, within a block proximity of one another, and they're all zoned R2 district. Thanks. So first, 25 First Street, this was built in 1872. The land bank acquired the property in 2017. And our estimated rehab costs right now, we looked at 4 properties that we've rehabbed in the last 2 years, one of which is on Second Street nearby. And so we're estimating rehab costs at $260, approximately $260 per square foot to get the estimated rehab costs. We've had structural evaluations done of all 3 properties. They were included in our application. And for 255 First Street, it noted significant damage from roof leaking and water damage. So the flooring is unstable, especially in the rear of the building is starting to collapse. We'll have pictures later on that show that water damage. And then this will be the same for all 3 properties. Our proposed use for site post demolition, they're going to be included in our flip the block project is what we're terming it. So I think the last time the land bank presented to the planning board was 2024, and we mentioned I think we kind of referenced this project a little bit. So it is starting to move ahead. We submitted the application to Homes and Community Renewal would be the funding source for this project. They've given us some edits back, and we're working on those edits now. And we are also in the middle of procurement for architectural services. So it's and so all 3, and I'll go into more detail on that on a few slides. And then it's going to be the same for all 3 properties to follow the demolition debris diversion plan. And the requirements that a minimum of 35% of material is recycled or repurposed. All 3 properties have a lot of damage, some fire damage on one of the properties, but they also all have asbestos, so that's one of the concerns. We include this information in the RFP, and then this requirement of meeting 35%. And then 256 First Street, this is across the street from 255, built in 1872. This property we acquired in 2023, so probably one of our more recent acquisitions, and it's always been, the idea has been to include this property in the Flip the Block project from the start. And again, we're estimating approximately $260 per square foot for rehab. This property, there's some fire damage and that we'll see on the interior slides. And because of this, and because of the concerns noted in the structural evaluation, the City of Albany has condemned this property. So I have a letter from March 16th condemning the property. As I noted, this will be included in the Flip the Block project as well. And then we'll see this later on. There's a concern with this site because it is adjoining, has an adjoining wall with a neighbor. So we've been in contact with that neighbor, the property owner. So we're going to do a site visit. We have a day planned for a site visit to look at the basement to see if the basements are adjoining and if there's any structural work that needs to be completed prior to demolition. So we're going to follow up on that process. And then 267 Second Street it's an existing single-family property. It's a little bit smaller than the others, which is why we're estimating lower rehab costs, but still above the cost that we could sell to a homeowner. And then there's the big issue with this property is there's structural concerns in the rear of the building due to water damage. The back corner is starting to collapse, and then there's damage to foundational brick walls around the site or around the bottom of the foundation. Again, this is going to be included in our project, and due to this one has a larger lot size, so we're planning a 2-family home on this site. And then with all 3 properties, we started the RFP process with demolition contractors. We did a walkthrough yesterday of all the sites, and they had some concerns about the unsafe nature of the property. We did obtain asbestos surveys to see if it could be abated prior to demolition, but we were all the contractors yesterday informed us that it was too unsafe to do abatement prior to demolition. And they recommended that we try to get the buildings condemned, just so they can follow that process, just because it's too unsafe. So that was the suggestion. I think all of them. Yeah.
6 of them.
Yep. And then for site restoration, we included this in the RFP that all contractors, demolition, removal of the entire structure, including the foundation, and to fill with topsoil and grass seed. Again, we're planning this for redevelopment, hopefully within the next year, or at least starting on construction in 2026. And I can talk more about that project really quickly. So this is kind of a new focus for the land bank. Historically, the land bank has focused on property management and selling vacant lots. And we're trying to move to a more community-driven development model, and starting to rehab and develop new construction homes especially where there's vacant lots. So this project is really our leaping off point of that strategy. So I noted the map here of 1st and 2nd Street. You can see Clinton Ave at the bottom and Henry Johnson on the right side, going vertically. And then all of the orange properties are planned 2-family sites. You'll see we labeled 267, all 3 demolition sites, and the blue sites are single family. And that's it's really due to lot size and just how large of a home we can fit on the parcel. But yes, and and our goal is to meet the R2 standards of mixed single and 2-family homes in West Hills. So and then the last thing to note is 257 2nd Street. We also labeled that because that was our first kind of step in this project. It was a rehab that we completed and was sold to a homeowner last year. So this is the external view of each property. So starting with 255 1st Street, our concern with this one, I didn't mention earlier, but our concern with this one is the tree up front, and you can see the power line is kind of going in between the branches. So actually, and yesterday we could hear it kind of rubbing up against the tree. So we called National Grid today to have someone come out and look at the site. So that is the concern with that one. 256 1st Street, you can see the adjoining property. They have the same roof line and approximately the same size. So there's questions, kind of some thoughts yesterday that they might have been built at the same time or together. So that's why we need to investigate further. But like I said, we did contact the homeowner. He said it kind of seemed like it wedges, like it's wedged, so it's like there's more space in the back. But we just need to investigate more and include that in the RFP. We're going to update the RFP as we go and include those findings before we start any demolition. And then moving to the interior photos. This is 255 First Street. As you go through the building, it's worse as you go towards the back, but you can see some of the flooring starting to degrade and the framing just collapsing because of some water damage. And then 256 First shows some of the fire damage. This one we did not enter yesterday, and this is the one that's been condemned. But we haven't entered this site in a long time because there's some holes in the flooring and it's just unsafe to really enter the property. And then 267 kind of shows the back corner that's starting to collapse. And there's water damage from the second floor down through the first floor, so it's kind of all like rotting out and collapsing. And the other concern with this property is we're not able to access the basement just because it's too unsafe. So we're not able. We did a limited asbestos survey, but we don't have an idea of if there's what's located below. So that's part of the challenge with this property.
But you can also just assume it's all friable and positive, right?
Yeah.
And when you demo according to those standards.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. When we can't reach it, we just assume that. Yep.
So we don't have anybody listed for public comment, unless that's changed. Nope, we're good. All right, board, do we have any?
Public comment.
I'm sorry?
Keys.
My name is, I can sit right here, right? If you want.
No, are you commenting on this project?
Yes.
Oh, okay, you can come up here, and when you do, can you please give us your name and your address?
My name is Brian Leslie.
Okay.
I'm at 274 2nd Street.
Okay.
I'm adjacent to, I would say opposite 267.
Can you go back to?
Is that the one for demolition?
The first one.
2nd Street, 267 2nd Street, is that? One
He's
again?
gonna go back so we can see.
Let me just see.
Yep, that one. Okay, so you're right next to,
Well, I'm across the road.
across the street.
Across the street.
Okay. thank you.
Literally about, I would say 50 feet
Okay.
away.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so, just a concern I had, with the demolition, because I want to believe that the building, it's asbestos containing material, mostly the sidings. I can look at it, I can tell. So I was concerned if we would be notified as to when this will be done, when the demolition is staged for, at least give the residents or give persons that live in close by a heads up as to when this is going to be taking place and what are some of the steps that will be taken to contain the asbestos. Right? It might be friable material, yes, but if it's crumbled, I know it's asbestos containing slate on the outside, composite. So we would like to know.
Yeah, so that's something that we don't cover here as to answering those specific questions.
Okay.
We do cover, one of the things that we do cover here is, if you have questions about the project itself, and you have a really great question, that's just not within our scope.
Okay.
One of the questions that Shani did ask is how they were going to demo, which was to make sure and assume that there's friable asbestos that can get out in the air, and so they're going to demo. He confirmed that they're gonna demo with that in mind.
Okay.
One of the
Containment
things-
and so on.
Yep,
would be-
I would
okay.
definitely connect with them after our hearing today,
Yeah.
and they should be able to provide you, hopefully, with their contact information, so you can ask them more questions about their process and when they're going to do this and how they're going to do this.
So
with their
who's the
time.
contact person with the Albany Bank?
Yep, they're
Bank?
right here, so
Okay.
after here, connect with them,
Okay,
and then,
Yeah.
hopefully they'll give you a way to contact them,
okay.
so you can answer those types of questions.
As to when it's gonna be and
Mhm.
stuff like that and what to expect. Yeah, I'm literally, as I said, 50 feet away from that.
No,
so,
understood.
No,
No, totally
family there.
understood.
Yeah, so, yeah. That was my only concern.
Understood, and thank
Okay.
you.
But thank you very much.
No problem.
Questions?
You have questions for the applicant? Okay.
Can I ask staff a quick question? Are there demolition notification requirements on your code? Or is it coming from another municipality where we have that?
For when someone pulls, so there's requirements for when it comes to a board, but not when someone goes to pull the actual permit to do the demolition.
That's the
That
building
there's
department. Is that the building department?
Yeah. You can use, I mean, you'd have to do a little bit of research yourself, I guess. I imagine they'll inform people, but you would be able to see the permit online if you were to go to the online portal for photos.
Hi, we still have some questions for the
Yeah, we still have some
applicant.
questions.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
So, my first question, and it's, the gentleman left,
I know.
but somewhat related to his question. If I understood correctly, did you say that all of the contractors said it wouldn't be possible to remove the asbestos prior to demolition? 'Cause
Yes.
I guess my concern is, how do you carry out a demolition that ensures that the asbestos is completely contained and not exposing neighbors and workers to that if it's not abated first?
Right, so I'll echo on what you're saying. So there's specific requirements per asbestos contractors to remove per NESHIP, which is basically like if you look at the site, there's playgrounds, there's certain requirements that have to be followed per EPA, and they are very regulated. So if a contractor is saying like, we're just gonna contain it, like I'd get some clarification on what that containment is. Because there's per code rule of New York State, your demo contractor would know this, but there's specific requirements. So I was just looking on the site plan, there's the playground, those are like very critical spaces.
Yeah, and absolutely, we would take every precaution to make sure that we're doing this.
I feel like that they would, but that's something to echo.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I remember in my last house when I needed to have renovations done and I had several contractors tell me like, we can't work with the asbestos. And I was like, but you have to. And it was like, I felt like I had to like fight a little bit. And I know you guys do this for a living, you're not a single homeowner, but it raises like a little red flag to me that they're saying like, we can't contain it prior to demolition.
Oh, no, so what's happening is that they're saying that the structure itself is not safe enough for them to go in and do the abatement work.
And are they saying that we're just gonna assume the whole thing?
Yes,
So
all of
that's
this.
And
very-
that's the
Okay.
standard to which they're
Yes.
going to.
So that's, yeah, that's what I was gonna
That's-
say.
I just
we're
wanted
gonna
to
treat
make
it
sure.
all-
That's what I
Just
thought I
because-
heard.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely,
what I
they're gonna
thought I
treat it
heard.
as it's loaded
Okay.
for the most part. So we're gonna take every precaution to ensure that, it's safety first.
So my question goes back to the building you've had since 2017. You've had it for almost 10 years. And so it doesn't sound like much has been done with it since it was acquired and now we want to demolish it. I know that in looking at the photos, there's really nothing you can do now, but what can be done so once you acquire a building, we're not having it sit and rot for 10 years, because that's not helpful to the neighborhood or the community.
Absolutely.
So in the past, I think Jason mentioned their process was mostly focusing on property management and real estate transactions, just acquiring the property and selling them to bring them back to productive use. But we've shifted, we're a brand new team. We've been in place, Sean McGuire, who's our executive director, he's been there for now 2 years. And the rest of us, we've joined after that. But we're shifting more into that community-driven development model. So we actually want to take the properties that we have and, with grant funding and rehab that, because we know that we can do that with grant funds. A lot of these development projects, you'll see they cost a lot of money, $500,000, $600,000. The average person doesn't have that much money to put into it and then try to sell it, to make it affordable. It's impossible to do it that way, but we can, we know that we can. So that's the whole purpose of like Flip the Block program. We have all of these vacant lots. We have buildings like these that are, something probably should have been done at some point, but again, their focus was just different than where we're focused right now. So yeah, we definitely assure you that moving forward, that's not gonna happen. Because as we acquire properties, we're gonna program them or put them up for sale. And we have some other ideas too that I'll let
I
Jason chime in on that.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that, I know just, through our understanding that, especially back in 2017, but through, probably the last couple of years, the land bank had a lot more properties than it does now. The properties that were sold, to either, developers or home buyers, were usually the properties in better condition that were easier to rehab. So we're at the point now where we're either left with properties that did not receive much interest. So there was attempts this property was put up for sale. But that's the challenge is, so now we have less properties just simply because the county's process has changed and it has to go through the auction. They have to go through the auction process. So we're focusing now on the properties that we do have. How do we make the best use out of them? Can we build, do new builds? Can we rehab them? So the proposed use of funds for the demolitions, part of that is funding the demolitions, but the other majority of that grant would be to rehab properties. Some of that in West Hill, some in the South End.
And what's the timeline of this?
Yeah, we just as I mentioned, started the RFP process. That's due, by the end of April. Our walkthrough with the property owner at 258 First Street would occur after that. So we would ideally do that with the contractor. And so we're thinking probably maybe a May, May start.
We start by May demo.
Yeah.
I would say towards the end of May.
End of May.
Because, we want to make sure that, again, we take all the precautions.
A lot of it depends on the amount of work that would need to be done structurally to 258 First Street to make sure that's shored up before we start any of this work. And then the other, I don't think we mentioned this, but 258 First Street, any adjoining wall, we want to make sure is, we've done this with other demolitions, but we will make sure that it's weather tight and insulated, so that wall is protected going forward.
I definitely think it's great that there is a plan when things get demoed, because that's where the gap happens in terms of, as you can see, it's very hard to rebuild at that cost per square foot.
Yeah.
So it's really important to maintain that, and that's very exciting to see. I just hope it initiates momentum to where you can see it through. Right?
I do have a question for staff or maybe the applicant. These homes are very old. Is this in a historic district? Do they need to?
It's not.
It's not, okay.
But they did circulate this to
Historic preservation.
the state.
The SHPO?
Oh, yes, SHPO did review.
The Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, which determined both there are no properties, including archaeological and/or historic resources listed in or eligible for New York State or National Registers of Historic Places that'll be impacted by this project. So that was for all three of these demos. I imagine for the other properties in the for the block project as well.
Okay. But Clinton Avenue is.
Clinton Avenue is, definitely.
And parts of Lexington.
Parts of Lexington
are
as well.
too. But
Yeah, Africa's only just a block away from Clinton Ave, so. Sure. Any other questions? All right, we can get to staff notes.
There are the 9 criteria under the demolition review standards, and just based on those, the applicant has demonstrated that they meet the requirements for the demolition. The property is again all located in the R2 zoning district. The demolitions would encompass the entire structure for all three. These would be classified as unlisted actions under seeker. So again, we have the parts 2 and 3 prepared as well. We'd be recommending a negative declaration for each of those. And while none of the projects are specifically tied to a development plan review as of yet, because they haven't been submitted, we are expecting that those properties would be submitted for redevelopment, pending the outcome of the grants. Go to the next slide. Just noting that the comp plan does call for the stabilization and reuse of existing structures, essentially when possible. But in this case, noting that they've noted the extensive structural damage, provided reports from structural engineer, and then just the conversation with the contractors as well. In addition to one of the structures being condemned by the city's building department. The land bank has also attempted to sell all 3 of the properties at various points, fortunately unsuccessfully. The estimated cost to rehab, which we looked at from different projects and some prior applications from the land bank as well, appear to be too high to actually rehab these properties. They're complying with the debris diversion plans and the requirements under the zoning code. We've also noted potentially if there's any materials that are they're able to reuse or recycle, essentially having those be salvaged and providing them to appropriate authorities. So here we'll just go into some of the staff notes on the specific properties themselves. We noted with 256 First Street, the building was registered as vacant since at least 2017. As the case with all 3 of these, we noted that they're largely vacant prior to the county and then the land bank taking possession of them. We have the note about the asbestos testing. So for 256 First Street, we would have a condition, we would recommend a condition that the variance from the state EC be obtained prior to the actual building permit being issued. That's in relation to the assumed asbestos. We got a county planning board recommendation back, just deferring to local consideration. And then for this properties of 256 First, the engineer reported that the first floor had deteriorated flooring, significant fire damage, and no access to the second floor at the time of the inspection. Next one, and then for 267 2nd Street, here also listed as and registered as a vacant property. Images that we could find indicate it may have been vacant at least on and off since about 2007. Again, this one actually did not require referral to the county planning board, and that's just based on like its proximity. Some do, some don't. Mm-hmm. Similar notes from the structural engineer, but noting that it's not that there is significant damage to the brick foundation and to the walls. We also know there's a building permit filed at the end of 2024 for the replacement of stairs and railing after there was an auto accident. But that work did not appear to actually be completed, I think just based on the overall condition of the building. And then lastly, for 255 First Street, again, registered since at least 2017, appears to have been vacant before that as well. This one was referred to the county planning board, got the same recommendation back, which is to defer to local consideration, and then the structural engineer report noting challenges with the property, flooring, there's foundation for this one as well, framing, and noting the back half of the first and second floor is significantly deteriorated and not safe. Basement stairs are not safe. So our recommended actions would be declaring a negative declaration under secret for each of these demolition reviews, and then approving the demolition review. That'll be the same recommendation for all three, but specifically for 256 First Street, we would just note we would have a condition that the issuance of the building permit for the demolition itself not be approved until DEC approves the variance for the asbestos.
So do you have a slide like this for all three of them? Or this slide just, let's go, you
Yeah.
do? Okay, perfect. All right. So before we get to moving, any other questions, comments from the board? All right, so the first one we're looking at is project number DR 2025-13, which is 256 First Street. And I need a motion declaring a negative declaration under seeker.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say yay. Yes, all right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So the next, we're looking for a motion to approve the demolition review with the following conditions. Prior to the issuance of the building permit for demolition, NISDEC approval for demolition would need to be in place for assumed asbestos. And when you say will be provided, that means back to
the
building department. Okay. Do we have a motion for this?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So we're moving forward. The next project is DR-2026-1 for 267 2nd Street. We need a motion to declare a negative secret declaration on this project.
So moved.
Second?
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and we also need have a motion on the floor. Need a motion on the floor, sorry, to approve the demolition review for this project.
So moved.
Second.
All right, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and the last project is DR 2026-2, 255 First Street. We need a motion to declare a negative declaration under seeker.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we also need a motion to approve the demolition review. Anyone moves?
I move. So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so everything passed. Okay, all right, we now need a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Thank you. And we adjourned the meeting at 7:13 PM. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
much.
Thank you.
So do you want to go over